The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sport podcast, where this week our special guest is Fiona Everard, who recently raced to glory at the 123.ie National Cross Country Championships. She became the senior women's champion and won by a decent margin as well on Sunday afternoon. I'm your host, Dylan Mangan, and I'm joined today by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose Credit Union, choose local, choose community. Now, Kieran, we'll be speaking to Fiona in just a little bit, but before we get to her, we've a couple of stories to round up from West Cork sport from the week and looking ahead to the weekend as well. And we'll start with the O'Donovan Rossas ladies. They're in All-Ireland Junior quarter-final action against Glasgow Gaels on Sunday in Glasgow. And Kieran, it's not often a GAA team gets to travel abroad, so it's a huge occasion for the Munster champions, isn't it?
Yeah, and just to point out, the game is Saturday, Dylan, just in case any of our listeners are making the trip across and they land over to Glasgow on Sunday. The game is Saturday morning at 11:30. So yeah, fierce exciting for the O'Donovan Rossas ladies football team. They're already after an incredible season. Their target was to win the County Junior A final that they'd lost in 2022, and they achieved that. They beat Dawneys by double scores in the county final a couple of weeks back. That opened the door to the Munster Junior Football Series, and they've been going great guns in there as well. They beat Lockmore Castellini from Tipperary. Then they beat Newmarket on Fergus from Clare in the semi-final. And then in the Munster Junior Football final, they beat Skib beat Clonmacnoise and Moyvan. So now there's two cups resting in the O'Donovan Rossas trophy cupboard, the county and the Munster trophies. But they're not finished yet, Dylan. They've now got into the All-Ireland series. So it's fierce exciting for the team at the moment. And they're heading across to Glasgow this weekend. So it looks a bit like this. On Friday, they fly out. They're actually flying out from two different airports because they all couldn't get the same flight out, which is because they had to book it late. They didn't know they were going to go. Obviously, they didn't know they were going to go to Glasgow until after they beat Clonmacnoise and Moyvan. So what we're going to have is almost half the team goes from Cork, almost half the team, the other half goes from Dublin, all flying into Edinburgh. They'll all stay overnight in just outside Glasgow on Friday night, and then it's 11:30 kickoff, throw-in on Saturday morning. So that's quite an early throw-in for this game. But the Skib team is travelling back on Saturday evening, and the hope is they're travelling back with their place booked to the All-Ireland semi-final, because if Skib can get there, the semi-final will be on here in Skibbereen, and that would be a huge occasion for the club, an All-Ireland semi-final right here in Skibbereen. So what do we know about Glasgow Gaels? I know you're going to ask me that, Dylan. I can see it. I can see you waiting to ask that. So did a bit of research, and they were an intermediate team who regraded down to junior this year, and they blitzed their way through the All British Junior Championship to get into the final. In the 3 games before the final, they scored 18 goals and 50 points and conceded only 4 points. But we don't know the standard of what they're up against over, so we're not sure what they're up against. But when I got to the final, it was a good bit tighter. I think it was against a team called St. Columkills, and they won by 112 to 2-2. And then in there, they then went on to play Belgium GAA, and they beat them 1-7 to 1 point. So it's going to be it's a tricky game for Skib because they won't know too much about Glasgow Gaels, and it's a team made up of a lot of Irish footballers over there from Dublin, Armagh, and from a lot of Ulster counties. It's going to be a tricky tie for O'Donovan Rossas when you consider the travel involved, and this will be a novelty for everyone involved in Skip. The fact that it's almost planes, trains, and automobiles to get to this game. So how they handle the novelty and uniqueness of the game, because that's the reason they're going to Scotland, to play a game, and a game they want to win. So if they can keep tabs on everything surrounding the game, and just focus on the game itself, they have a great chance of getting to that All-Ireland semi-final.
Yeah, you got ahead of me there by preempting my question about what we know about the Glasgow Gaels. But my other question for you, Kieran, is more about, I guess, it's kind of maybe a little bit easy for us looking at this and looking at Glasgow as a team that aren't based in Ireland and thinking Skip should be favourites here. But is the fact that they are travelling abroad, that is kind of a leveller in a sense?
It is, because like I was saying there, Dylan, it's definitely a novelty for any team when you have to get a flight to go play a football game. And it's just to stay focused on the reason that they're going, which is the game. And speaking to a couple of the players with Laura Mahoney on last week's podcast, and I chatted to Kate O'Donovan in this week's Southern Star, they're all kind of pointing to the fact that they really do take it one game at a time in this year's Great Championship run that they're enjoying. And they really have to stick to that mantra this weekend. Take it one game at a time, but just focus on the game itself, because that's the reason they're going over there. And that if Skip can beat Glasgow Gaels, like, it could be an incredible occasion in Skibbereen to have an All-Ireland semi-final here the following weekend. And that'd be a huge, what an occasion for this group of players to play in front of their home fans in an All-Ireland semi-final. And in the 30th anniversary of the year that the senior men's team won the All-Ireland Senior Club way back in 1993, but they're not getting ahead of themselves. They know it's going to be a tricky game against Glasgow Gaels. Like we said, they'll know enough about them, but they won't know an awful lot about them. I was just going through various newspaper reports and online to see what I could find out about Glasgow Gaels, and that's when I saw like those big scores they were putting up early in the championship over in Britain. Glasgow Gaels are a team that don't concede a lot, but they're coming up against an O'Donovan Rossas team that's averaging almost 18, 19 points a game, and that's been scoring pretty freely this year. And as Laura Mahoney said in the podcast last week, they feel there's more to come too, that they need to be more clinical in front of the posts, because they had double-digit wides against Clonmac and Myvan in the Munster final. It was either 14 or 15 wides. So straight away there, that's one area that O'Donovan Rossas will be looking to improve. And we know that Skib have the players. We know that they have the forwards. We know that they're a team that their manager James O'Donovan is saying is getting better with every game, and they'll have to put out a big performance again if they want to get to the All-Ireland semi-final.
Yeah, and as Laura Mahoney pointed out last week as well, they've really been bonding throughout this season as a group. So even going abroad, going over to Glasgow, will be a great experience for all of them as well. And hopefully they can bring a semi-final spot back on the plane with them. Now, a team from West Cork who are in semi-final action this weekend are Castlehaven. They are out in the Munster series against Waterford's side, Rathgormack. That game is on Sunday, Kieran. And Castlehaven, they've had a little bit of time now to kind of regroup and recover after the extra time win over Cratloe. How will they be feeling going into this?
I was talking to Haven manager James McCarthy earlier, just for a piece for Thursday Star, and their intent in qualifying for the Munster final. They can see there's a great chance to qualify for a Munster final, and that's with the greatest respect to Rathgormack. Castlehaven have had to wait 10 years to get back into the Munster series, so like they know that these chances don't come around too often. And you're thinking of some of the elder statesmen of this Castlehaven team. You're thinking of the likes of the Mark Collins, who's in his early 30s, the Brian Hurley, Damien Callahan, these fellas who've been at the forefront of Castlehaven for over a decade now, and they'd love to have a Munster club medal to show for their efforts. But they also know that these medals are hard won, and they're hard won for a reason, because once you venture off into the Munster series, it does become a bit of a minefield. Haven needed extra time to get over Cratloe the last day, and James McCarthy was making the point to me that he can see since then, like, the focus is back in the team, that they know that they have a chance to do something special here. But this is going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky on Sunday, because you have that away element again, and it's a 1:30 throw in at in Fairfield in Dungarvan on Sunday. So what Castlehaven are doing, they're actually travelling on Saturday, so they're going to stay in Dungarvan overnight just to break the trip, because it's too far, you could say, to travel from Castlehaven on Sunday morning to be there for a 1:30 throw in. It's easily 2.5 hours from Castlehaven to Dungarvan, and you'd have to be gone at witching hour, I think, to almost to be there in time. So Haven are travelling the day before. They're leaving no stone unturned, but they know it's going to be a tough game against a good Rathgarmack team, and they're Waterford champions this year. They were in the finals in 2020, 21 and 22 and lost them all. And they also won the Waterford Senior Final back in 2019. So Rathgarmack have been in the last 5 Waterford Senior Finals, winning 2 of them. So that alone is telling you a bit about their pedigree, that they are one of the top teams in Waterford. And Castlehaven actually played them in a challenge game up at the Fota Island Resort 2 years ago. James McCarthy was filling me in on that as well. So they do have some knowledge of them. They have played them, albeit in a challenge game. So he knows. He said they're a good football side, really good midfield, good forwards, very solid defence. He feels they're a football team as well. So would we see more of a football game than we saw in the Haven-Cratloe game? Possibly, but then again, it depends, I think, on a lot of elements on the day, the conditions and how the team's set up. But big chance for Castlehaven to do something here, but they know how hard it is to win any game in Munster. So big one.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge for them. And as well, I guess we spoke about them after they won the Premier Senior County Final, and it's easy to kind of think of this as bonus territory, but I don't think Castlehaven will be thinking of it like that at all. Like you say, they're serious about this, and while some teams might go into it going, "Geez, isn't it great we got here?" But like you say, they want to be in a final.
Yeah, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, Dylan, with Mark Collins on the podcast, the Haven captain, just after they beat Nemo Rangers, and he was telling us that in the dressing room after the county final, he was telling the younger lads, or even the squad, that they were going to take the Munster Club Championship seriously. So even in the celebrations of winning the county, Mark Collins was already thinking of the Munster series, because, like I said earlier, you don't get there every year. Like, it took Haven 10 years to win the county title between 2013 and 2023. So now that they're there, they want to make the most of it. And James McCarthy was saying likewise. He goes, they'd be disappointed not to get to the Munster final. So they've set out their stall. Like, they want to get to the Munster final. It'd mean an awful lot to the club. Haven have actually won a couple of Munster titles before. The last was back in 1997. So it's 25 years since they were crowned Munster Senior Club football champions. There's an awful lot of football to be played before they could have that title again. But they know they need to make the most of this year, because who knows when they could get back here again. The Cork Premier Senior Football Championship is a minefield. It all came together for Haven to win it this year. But if you're looking at next year already, like, you've the Nemo, Bars, Clan, all these really good teams. So there's no guarantee that Haven will win it next year. And they know that themselves. And that's why they want to make the most of it. And also, when you have such a good group of players, and you have those fellas, like I said earlier, who've been there for years and years, the Mark Collins and the Brian Hurleys and so on, they dearly love to get their hands on a Munster title. But the same with the O'Donovan Rossas ladies, it really is one game at a time. So let's hope they're 2 good away days for the West Cork teams this weekend.
Yeah, that one is throwing in at 1:30 p.m. on Sunday in Fairfield and Dungarvan. And the other semi-final as well is Kerry champions Dingle against Tipperary champions Clonmel Commercials. That's in Thurles at 1:30 on Sunday as well. So we'll know Haven's fate and the fate of the other semi-final on Sunday evening. Now, elsewhere, Kieran, Tim Buckley has stepped away from his role as manager of the Carbery men's senior footballers. He'd been in charge for the past 6 seasons, but feels now is the right time for a change. And it was a successful 6 seasons, I guess, culminating in that Ty Crowley Cup win in 2022.
Yeah, that's certainly the highlight in Tim's managerial reign, that 2022 success. before that, and he'll admit it himself, there were kind of a couple of lean years, Dylan, where the Carbery, he was trying to put in place the foundations for a season like 2022. But the results didn't fall Carbery's way. Like, Carbery had to wait a long time for their first senior county championship victory under Tim Buckley. But once it came in, they got the winning bug. They won 5 championship games in 2022, won the Tadhg Crowley Cup by beating Duhallow in the final up in Parky Ring. That put them through to the County Premier Senior Football quarter-final that year, where they ultimately lost to Ballincollig. But that year, by and large, was a big success for Carbery football, because what it did, it made Carbery football attractive again. It made it an honour, you could say, to play for your division. And Tim Buckley deserves a lot of credit for that, for the management team he put in place, for the players he brought through, but making it attractive again to play football for Carbery. And it's attractive for a number of reasons. First off, you get to represent your division on the big stage, and that's a great honour for any footballer in West Cork, because we're talking about junior and intermediate footballers here, fellas who aren't playing at senior level with their club. So the Carbery offers them the chance to play senior football and to pit themselves against senior footballers of a similar standard all around the county. And you only have to look at last year, the form of both Brian O'Driscoll and Rory Dean for Carbery in winning the Tadhg Crowley Cup. That opened the door for them to come back into the Cork senior football team this year. So that alone shows the worth of Carbery right there. It's a shop window to show your talents to a wider audience, including Cork management teams, whether that's under 20 senior or whatever that is. So Tim Buckley deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. He's decided to step aside because he feels it's time for a new voice. We've got to remember too that in his 6 years, we also had COVID, which kind of disrupted a season or two as well. And he was telling me when I was chatting to him that he feels like 3 years is probably enough for any manager to be in place, but he just couldn't walk away from the Carbery team. But now he does feel it's the right time to pass the torch on to someone else. And whoever inherits this Carbery senior football team, they're getting a team with a really good base, a really good platform, really good panel of players there. So the hope is that Tim Buckley's good work will be continued and Carbery will make an impression in next year's county championship again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see when a new man is in charge there. I'm sure we'll be speaking about that in due course as well. Let's move on, Kieran, to this week's special guest, and that is Enniskeane's Fiona Everard, who, like I said, raced to glory at the National Cross Country Championships in Kilkenny on Sunday afternoon. And Kieran, just a little bit of background, I guess. The win came just a year after, or less than 12 months after, she won the National Novice Cross Country title, which is the entry-level competition ahead of intermediate and senior. And so to progress to winning the senior or the senior national title is incredible for her.
Oh, what a huge win for Fiona Everard. Whatever we talk about what's underwater in Skibbereen, we need to finance a study of what's going on in that Bandon and Enniskeane area, because it's the home area of Phil and Joan Healy as well. So there's definitely something in the water in Enniskeane, because it's producing top class athletes. And for Fiona Everard, this is her Everest, for want of a better phrase. It's her biggest win yet. It's a national senior title. It's huge. It really is. And you can even see it just looking online this week. When you search Fiona Everard in news stories, all the headlines with her name in it, this is a significant win for her in her career. And it's even more astounding, like you said there, she won the novice cross country just 12 months ago, and now she's bringing home senior Irish women's cross country title. She's a national senior champion. And just for our listeners, Darragh McElhinney won the equivalent of this title in the men's last year, and that was big news for Darragh. It was his first Irish men's senior national cross country title, and 12 months on we have another West Cork winner. So great for Fiona, great for Enniskeane, great for Bandon Athletic Club as well, her home club, and it's great for West Cork Athletics, because it's keeping West Cork Athletics on the front and back pages of the Southern Star Sports section, as our readers will see on on Thursday. But what a great win, and by over 40 seconds as well. Like, this wasn't a sprint finish. This was an emphatic win, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely, and it qualifies her as well. Like, we'll hear in the chat now, but her main aim going into the race was to qualify for the Euro Cross, which is in Brussels on December the 10th, and I think you have to get a top 3 finish to qualify. She blew everyone else out the water and came first in, I guess, a win that probably surprised her a little bit as well. Like, she says that it's not exactly what she was expecting. But even just to add a little bit more context to kind of the scale of the achievement, no Irish athlete has made the leap from winning novice to senior in less than 12 months in the cross country. So, like, she is the first person to do that, which is incredible as well.
Oh, that's like that says it all as well. Like, the magnitude of what Fiona did on Sunday up in Kilkenny. Like, it'll probably take a while for this to sink in. I was watching an interview with her kind of straight after the race on Sunday, when she was saying she was trying to let it all sink in, that, like, she knew she could be competitive. And like you said, Dylan, she wanted to try and get a qualification place for Euro cross country, but she exceeded all expectations, including her own, by bringing home the gold. And it's just a huge moment in her career. And when you hear quite soon from Fiona, like, this is a big confidence booster for her. And the hope is, and she says it herself, that she'll use it as a confidence booster, because that's something that she feels that sometimes she doesn't have that confidence when it comes to her ability and her potential, whether it's in cross country or on the track. So it's a flag in the moment for Fiona. So there's a big couple of weeks ahead. Like you said, she's the European cross countries coming up next month, and as you'll hear from her now, Dylan, she's still getting used to hearing that she is the Irish women's senior cross country champion. We're delighted now to be joined on the podcast by the West Cork woman of the moment. It's Fiona Everard. We're a couple of days on from your brilliant win in the cross-country championships. You won the senior title for the first time. So is that starting to sink in, Fiona, that you're now the national senior cross-country women's Irish champion?
Yeah, I think I thought it was starting to sink in, but hearing that still, it doesn't sound that real. But no, it's definitely, I've wrapped my head around it a bit more than Sunday anyway. But yeah, no, I'm just as delighted now.
Let's go back to the race. So when you were, I suppose, the week leading into the race, what was your goal and target going in, considering 12 months ago you won the novice cross country, and this is obviously its senior, like, so what was what view was your realistic target on Sunday?
Yeah, so I'd been talking to Matt, my coach, a lot about it, and it was Eurocross really, just to get to Europeans was kind of the ultimate goal. We figured there's 6 on the team, but we figured it could only be 3 going from national, so top 3 are automatically selected. So that was kind of, yeah, I suppose that was my goal, just to like try and make it. I didn't know if I'd be comfortably making it or like scraping it in, but yeah, I think as the race was going on, we figured it'd go out hard, and I was just expecting myself to like just be holding on as long as I could, and hope I'd end up in the top 3. But yeah, as it was going on, I was surprised with how I was feeling. I was like, I don't think I should be feeling this good. So yeah, even crossing the line, I was just shocked with it.
At what stage of the race did you think in your own head, Jesus, I might actually win this?
I don't know if I ever fully like believed it until I actually crossed the line, but we had, I think it was maybe on the second last lap, I was just feeling really good, and I felt like I was kind of pulling back a small bit. I didn't want to push the pace on too much. And I know it's a 9K, it's a long way, so I didn't want to go out too hard and then end up paying for it after. So I felt like I was kind of biding my time on that kind of second last lap. And then I just kind of stopped like trying to hold back the pace and fighting it back, and just let myself run comfortable for the rest of that lap. And then I just found myself with a bit of a gap. So I think that gave me just confidence into the last lap. I was like, look, it was still 2.5K to go, but I was like, I felt good. So I was like, just push on for this one now. And yeah, I think it was only when I was crossing the line, I was like, I've actually won it.
Because I was going to ask you, Fiona, at any stage in that last lap, did you feel comfortable? Because you won by almost 40 seconds. So there's a big difference between being you and the runners behind you. So could you even go down those final 100 meters think, oh my God, I'm going to win this race? Or were you still at the line?
Yeah, I know I had maybe with like 500 to go. that's when people started telling me around the course to enjoy it. They were like, you have it won, enjoy it. And I think part of it, I was like finding it really hard anyway. I was like, oh, I just need to finish this race. But also, yeah, I don't think I fully believed it. I was like, they could easily come up behind me. You just don't know what's going to happen. And I think as well with like half K to go, I nearly slipped in the mud. There was like a really muddy patch on like coming into the last lap. I nearly took a tumble on it. So I was like, okay, just, yeah, don't get too far ahead. Just like get to the line and actually get over it. So yeah, I was trying to tell myself to like enjoy it the last few 100 meters, but I think I was just like, just get there and then you can enjoy it after.
And then to cross the line and to win that Irish senior title, like that must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it was. It definitely it felt so surreal. I didn't feel like it was happening to me at all, but yeah, no, I was just thrilled with it.
What have the few days been like since then? Because like I was saying to you just before we started recording, like if you put your name into Google now, all the stories that are coming up about Fiona, the kind of the new Irish champion. What's it been like for you to kind of to wrap your head around what you achieved?
Yeah, it's been mad, but the support has been so nice to get. Everyone back home has been so lovely with it as well. They're always like that. We come from like a small village in Enniskeane. It's like quite small anyway. But everyone they'll support you as much as like a whole country in itself would. So it has been really nice kind of getting support from everyone and getting nice messages. So it's just been overwhelming. I was saying that I wasn't like used to this before. But yeah, no, it has been really nice. Just, yeah, hearing everyone's nice words and everything.
And like I said earlier, Fiona, only 12 months ago you won the national novice cross country. Now you've won senior. Like that's quite a big jump to win from novice to senior. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, a bit of a step up. I think it was just I started being coached by Matt Lockett up in Galway last year. And I think he's just kind of helped me like see the long-term goal and just, I suppose, control my training a bit more. And that's just let me have like a consistent year for the first time in ages. So I think that's it, just being consistent with it and actually being able to do the training. So yeah, hopefully we'll just kind of keep building on that. I was saying after the race, I was like, whatever Matt's telling me, I'm going to be sticking with anyway. It's clearly working. So yeah, no, I think hopefully we'll just get another few years and just try and keep building on that.
Because it's important, I suppose, in your story to almost go back a few years too. Like you had your injury troubles, which did kind of, I suppose, frustrate you for a period. Can you fill us in on what those injury troubles were and how long you were actually kind of struggling with them?
Yeah, so it was, I think June 2021 was like the first biggest one. That was, I got a stress fracture of my tibia. And then took a long while kind of to come back from that and be able to like actually run on it again. And then I just kept kind of relapsing into like stress reactions on the same bone. So that was a bit frustrating. That went on for close to a year where I hadn't like done any sessions. I was just trying to like easy run. I think maybe by like May of last year, say 2022, I was still up to only, I think like maybe 20 miles a week. So going into last year, I didn't really have like that big goals or high expectations. I just wanted to actually be able to train and stay healthy. And then I think before that, I just had a bit of everything. I was in a really bad cycle of like getting injured, and then I'd finally get the all clear to go running again, and I would just do everything really hard. I'd feel like I was catching up almost. And that cycle was just repeating itself. So to be fair, Ronan Duggan was my coach before Matt. He did a lot of work to even get me like back to running some bit. He kind of started to break that cycle as well. So yeah, no, hopefully I've learned, I think now anyway. I think it came with maturity, just knowing when to pull back, and when you can actually work hard then.
And considering how tough those couple of years were to where you are now, because you've had a great year like cross country, but on the track as well, I saw you PBs in the 1500 and the 3000 meters as well. You had a big win in the 5000 meters at the Irish University Championship. So it's just been a great year, Fiona.
Yeah, no, it has. I think I like going into this year was even talking with my coach about what my goals are, and I was like, I don't want to set like too many goals, because I think I don't really know what my expectations should be or what my potential is. I think I just want to kind of keep going and see like if I actually get healthy, get consistent training, then see where that brings me. So I think I'm still kind of on the same path as that, just not setting too many like specific goals, and just if I keep doing what I'm doing, then just see what happens with it.
And how much are you enjoying this year?
I'm loving it, to be fair. It's easy to enjoy it, I know, when you're doing it well, but in Galway here, like we have a nice group to train with. There's, a good setup around us. We have our strength and conditioning and everything here. So I think that's part of it's more of it doesn't feel like as much of a chore when you're doing it with a group. Even up here there is a lot of like wind and rain and everything, but yeah, once you're doing it as like a social aspect, it takes a lot of the kind of hardship out of it, and you're enjoying it. So yeah, no, I am really enjoying it. We got to kind of increase my mileage a small bit this year as well, and I think that's really suited me. I like running the more miles, so yeah, no, I'm happy with it.
And you feel you're starting to realise your potential as well. Like you said, now you're getting the miles and you're having the success. You're coming off the back of those frustrating couple of years, so that we're finally starting to see the kind of the potential of Fiona Everard, because you had kind of success coming up as well then of those couple of tough years, but now we're starting to see you realising that potential.
Yeah, I think so, because like I've always loved it. I've always had the passion for it. So I think that's probably what kept me actually in the sport. But I know for like those few years when I was injured as well, I would always think, I don't even know if I'm going to be any good at this or if I can be good at it. I just knew I enjoyed it, so I was like, it's worth just staying at it. Because I knew I'd regret it if I had just kind of called it quits. But no, it is nice to know that okay, maybe I'm actually not too bad at it, and there is something there. So yeah, it has been nice to kind of realise that you know there is potential there. So yeah, hoping just to kind of grow at that and work at that.
And home for you is in Enniskeane, but you're based in Galway at the moment. Can you fill us in on college and what you're doing in university, and as well as your training group up there, your coach and so on?
Yeah. So yeah, I started a master's up here last year in biomedical science. So it's in University of Galway here. So this year I'm on placement. We're meant to say our second year is just like 12 months of placement. So I've split this year. So I'm basically doing like part-time working for 2 years instead. That's definitely helped with training, just, you know, having better time and everything. But I'm with Medtronic up here. They've been like so supportive. They didn't question it, you know, when I wanted to go part-time. They were just really on board from the start, so they've made it really easy. But yeah, it's Matt Lockett's my coach up here. He trains the college group as well, so it's kind of all tied into one. But it's so nice. Like it's probably been the most like professional like setup I've had. So it's really good just like training with a group. They're really good people to train with, you know, you always have people there. And it just, yeah, it makes it easier even for like long runs, easy runs, everything. I very seldomly have to like run by myself. So yeah, it makes it more fun. It makes it, you know, a more enjoyable thing. And even like going to races and everything, there's like less pressure and you're not as nervous when you're going with a group and you have people around doing the same thing. It probably makes it normal as well. Like you're around people of like similar minds. And they're like, you know, going for the same thing and everything. So, you know, there's not too many like nights out or anything like that. But when people around you doing the same thing, you just normalize that. So yeah, it definitely makes it easier.
And this is where you're training now. But to go back to the very start, it was Catherine Duggan, wasn't it, who got you involved in an athletic club all those years ago. So can you fill us in how you actually got started in athletics locally?
Yeah, I think randomly our parents just like let us join Bandon. I'm the youngest of 4 though, so I know when I've 2 brothers and a sister, they all joined, and I was too young to join. I had to wait a year, so I used to hate it, like watching all them go to training and just like waiting to get started. So I know from the start, I just couldn't wait to get stuck into it. But yeah, no, it was Catherine like took us on from the start. It's kind of hard to do her justice in words what she actually does for people, or you know everything she's done. But yeah, she had such a positive impact on it. I think she had told my parents when I was really young, she was like, whatever happens, just like make her stay in the sport, like there is something there. So I think before any of us saw it, she saw whatever it was, she saw something in me anyway. So yeah, she kept us going, and yeah, she was just amazing. Like she cared about people outside the sport as well as inside. Like if we had anything going on with school, or I know growing up I loved camogie as well. That was like my second love with running. So she never kind of fought that, you know, if I had a match that I wanted to do over a race, you know, she wouldn't argue, she'd let me do it. So yeah, she was just amazing, and she was just happy for people, you know, whatever your potential was. It doesn't matter if it was like the smallest or the biggest race. She was just happy when people were, I suppose, realizing their potential and actually enjoying it. So yeah, she had just a huge impact on me. And then it was Ronan, her son took me on then. He did training with me throughout the years, and everyone in Bandon did so much for me. I know there was Tom Laughlin. I had loads of coaches in there that were always supportive, but yeah, it was such a good group to be a part of. And I think they really kind of like from the start focus on long-term development anyway. So I think I just have so much to be thankful for them. Yeah, they've done a lot for me.
When you actually look at Bandon Athletic Club, the amount of top class athletes coming out of the club is incredible. I was just thinking about it last night. Obviously, you've You Phil Healy, I think Joan was there maybe at the start as well. Jane Buckley was there before she went to Leavell. Nicola Tuttle now. Shane Howard was Irish men's long jump champion. There's yourself now an Irish senior cross country champion, and there's all the kind of the underage success as well. Like it's an incredible club for, I suppose, for giving local athletes the chance to kind of define their potential.
Yeah, no, it is a huge testament to Bandon. I just think they really care, about like long-term success. They wouldn't do anything, silly just to get a bit of short-term success, whatever. They really do care about the athletes, so they just make it easy for people. And yeah, they've shown that sport, like even throughout the years when I was getting injured and everything, they never kind of like stepped away. They were always supporting me and everything. And you can see it after races. I think they were just as happy as like my parents and my family were for me when I got it. So yeah, it's like a big family in there.
And what's going on in Ballineen in Enniskeane? There's yourself, Healy, Joan Healy. I think we need some kind of studies to see like what's in the water in Ballineen.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I've just always felt so supportive there. Like I said, whatever you're doing, if it's sport or outside of sport, anything, everyone in Enniskeane and Ballineen, they just really get behind you and back you. So it just makes it easier when you always have that support. But yeah, I know like my messages were going mad the last few days, and my brother just said this morning, he was like, everyone here is like just congratulating you. He was like, I can't keep up with my messages. I don't know what it's like for you. So yeah, no, I'm just delighted with it.
And one of obviously winning the senior cross country title, a huge honour for you, but it opens the door now to the Euro cross country next month. What are you thinking about that race next month? What are the expectations going out there? How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. I was only talking to Matt about it last night, and I think he said, it's my first senior Eurocross, so there really isn't any pressure. There's no expectation. So I think I'll be going into just hoping to soak up all the experience and hopefully use it for, future competitions, or if I make Eurocross again, hopefully use it for, future teams. But yeah, I think it'd be nice going in. I prefer going into races like that when there's not much pressure on you and you can just go into it more relaxed. I think it helps me. So yeah, I mean, I think we should be going in with a strong team. So it will be nice to like go and be competitive, and I'd like to get everything out of myself that I can, but I've no idea yet like what that will actually be. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for a hard race and to see where that lands me.
Winning this title too, I presume it's a huge confidence boost for you.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably a bit of a struggle for mine. I don't really seem to believe in myself too much before it. So I think hopefully it should kind of, let me like back myself a bit more and go into future races with confidence. But yeah, it definitely has been. I think it's even like Ronan was messaging me after saying, I think how shocked I was after it. He was like, it reminded me of when you were in schools races and you just like, you'd never believe it if you're actually winning or you're actually doing well. So yeah, I think it's something I've been working on for a while. So yeah, hopefully it will give me a bit of confidence.
And just a quick look forward to 2024. Have you any targets set, anything you'd like to achieve next year?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to push on and have a better year on the track. Probably more towards the 5 and 10K. I know there's the European Cup for the 10K. I think that might be in May, so that could be one we're targeting. But as of now, we're keeping the goals quite loose, quite vague, and just I'll see as the months go on, kind of like what aligns for me or what looks okay. But yeah, I think there's no harm in just setting kind of good targets, big targets, and just seeing what can happen then. What
is your favourite distance so if you want it? Because like I said earlier, you PBs in the 1500 and the 3000, or possibly the 10,000. What do you think is what's your favourite or your favourite distance?
Yeah, I'm definitely better over the longer stuff. So I did a 5 and 10K then this summer, and they went okay. So I think I'll stick with the 5 and 10K. I'd say over the next few years it will be closer to the 10K I'll be going. That's why even at the cross country we moved distance from 8 to 9K. So I think that suited me a small bit more. And training kind of shows that I do seem to be better over the more aerobic stuff. So yeah, I'd say 5 and 10K I'll stick with.
And you definitely proved your class over 9K in Kilkenny on Sunday. So no, huge congratulations again. Enjoy this week. Enjoy all the messages, celebration coming in, and the very best to look at Eurocross next month.
Thanks a million. I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast following that great interview with Fiona Everard. And Kieran, I'm sure she'll be taking centre stage in this week's Southern Star Sport. What can readers look forward to this Thursday?
Yeah, we've loads of Fiona Everard coverage there, and also previews of the O'Donovan Rossas and Castlehaven games this weekend, which we were speaking about earlier. We also have a really good spread on the opening weekend of the Carbery Under-21A Football Championships and the Southern Star on Thursday, whether it's the paper or online. It's the only place where people will be able to read about the Carbery Under-21A Football Championship. So great win for Ivan Gaels, the reigning champions. Owen Gaels beat Clonakilty. Carbery Rangers came back to beat Donnies, while young Michal Maguire scored 2-8 for Castlehaven, who beat Gabriel Rangers. So that's well worth checking out on Thursday. Also, we have an interview with Tim Buckley, the Carbery senior football manager, where I asked him what tweaks he would make to the current divisional football championship to improve it. So it's interesting to see what Tim Buckley says. In the last word column, Paulie O'Sullivan, I really like the column. Do you know why I did it? Because I love the headline, The Empire Strikes Back. And what it's about is what a great year for West Cork football teams in the county championships. It was our most successful year since 2003, which is 20 years, because Haven won the Premier Senior, which is the top prize. Newcestown took home the Senior A, and also Bantry Blues were in the Premier Intermediate final. So it was just a really good year for West Cork football teams. And Hardy talks about how important that is for football locally, because even though West Cork is the home of football in this county, it's still competing against a lot of other sports for the attention of young people, whether it's the rowers or the rugby players, or you have the rise of athletics with so many local athletes going well. Soccer as well. A lot of West Cork youngsters are making an impression at various Cork's city grades and levels as well. So good column as usual by Hawley. Also, Bill Hart, Carbery Rangers GA legend, received a lifetime award from SCORE at the weekend. We've coverage of that. Also an interview with Nicola Tuttle, the Irish Senior Women's Hammer champion, who picked up a West Cork Sports Star Monthly Award on Friday night. She's only 19, Dylan, and she's a two-time Irish Senior Women's champion. She's won 9 national titles before she even turns 20. And before she came over to the awards on Friday night, she put in a gym session that morning, and then in the afternoon she had a throwing session at home in Kilbrittain, where her mother had to put on the wellies to go down the field to fetch the hammers and bring them back to Nicola. So it's very much a family affair there that's taken Nicola to the highest of heights. Like she's an incredible talent, another really talented West Cork teenager and a West Cork athlete who was at the top of her game. So it's just like we always say in this podcast, it's just a great time to be from West Cork if you love sports, because we have so many talented young sports people doing great things across a variety of sports. And the great thing is we captured every Thursday in the Southern Star.
Absolutely. All that and more will be available in shops across West Cork from Thursday morning. Alongside Kieran this week is our bumper 128-page Christmas in West Cork magazine. There's something in there for everyone. We have over 250 local advertisers featured, alongside gift guides, what's on in West Cork over the holiday period, puzzles and crosswords, and a whole lot more as well. So that's free inside the Star this week. So it is a must buy for everyone in the area. And as always, if you're further afield or you can't make it to the shops, you can subscribe to the Southern Star and get it on your laptop, tablet or phone. Just head to subscribe.southernstar.ie, enter your details, and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week, alongside full access to everything on our website. And you might want to hold off on subscribing, actually, Kieran, because this Thursday we have a great Black Friday deal launching on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. We don't have the details for you yet, so you'll have to keep an eye out on our social media for that. But they're great deals, so I would strongly recommend signing up this week. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast. And thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back again next week. Thanks for listening.